translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious foodstuffs, first offered to the personality of Godhead, and offered their respectful obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The behavior exhibited by the descendants of Yadu in the pilgrimage site of Prabhas was highly cultured and exactly to the point of human perfection. The perfection of human life is attained by following the three principles of civilization: protecting the cows, maintaining Brahmanic culture, and above all, becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. Without becoming a devotee of the Lord, one cannot perfect one's human life. The perfection of human life is to be elevated to the spiritual world, where there is no birth, no death, no disease, no old age. That is the highest perfection, aim of human life. Without this aim, any amount of material advancement is so-called comforts can only bring the defeat of the human form of life. The Brahmanas and Vaishnavas do not accept any foodstuffs which is not first offered to the personality of Godhead. Foodstuff offered to the Lord is accepted by the devotees as the mercy of the Lord. After all, the Lord supplies all kinds of foodstuff, both to the human being and to other animals. A human being must be conscious of the fact that all foodstuffs, namely grains, vegetables and milk, water, etc., the prime necessities of life, are supplied for mankind by the Lord, and such foodstuffs cannot be manufactured by any scientist or materialist in a laboratory or factory established by human effort. The intelligent class of men are called Brahmanas, and those who have realized the absolute truth in his supreme personal feature are called Vaishnavas. But both of them accept foodstuffs which are offered to the remnants of sacrifice. Sacrifice is ultimately meant to satisfy the Yajna Purush, Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita 3.13, it is said that one who accepts foodstuffs as the remnants of sacrifice is freed from all sinful reactions, and one who cooks foodstuffs for maintenance of his body takes in all kinds of sins which lead only to suffering. The foodstuffs prepared by the Yadus at the Prabhas pilgrimage site to offer to the bona fide Brahmanas were all offered to the personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The Yadus offered their sincere obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. Yadus or any enlightened family in a Vedic culture are trained for attainment of human perfection by total cooperation of service between the different divisions of social orders. The word urusam is significant here. Hundreds of delicacies can be prepared simply by combination of grains, vegetables and milk. Such preparations are in the mode of goodness and therefore may be offered to the personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Lord accepts only foodstuffs which are within the range of fruits, flowers, leaves and liquids, provided they are offered to complete devotional service. Devotional service is the only criterion for bona fide offering to the Lord. The Lord assures that He positively eats such foodstuffs offered by the devotees. So judging from all sides, the Yadus were perfectly trained, civilized persons, and their being cursed by the Brahmana sages was only by the desire of the Lord. The whole incident was a warning to all concerned that no one should behave lightly with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose to the third canto, third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Lord's Pastimes Out of Vrindavan. Om Agyanati Mandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksu Meratam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapita Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Tapadakamam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pajna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sinubhavicha Patinam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srinivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I'm just filling in the post. Khana Kabja Prabhu was meant to give Khani yeah. Khana Namja Prabhu was meant to give class, but yeah, he wasn't feeling well, so I was asked to. So I'll try my best with the blessings of devotees. I'll try and speak something beneficial. So one of his lectures, Prabhupada explains modern society, it has no respect for spiritual education. It kills the cows, doesn't respect Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, doesn't look after women, and doesn't look after children. So Prabhupada said, this is a condemned society. And everything is based on technology. So we can see in this purport how Prabhupada is emphasizing on the point on cow protection, eating the remnants of food offered to the Lord, respecting Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So we can see in the life of Bhaktivinoda Thakur when he came to establish the line of Vaishnavism in the Gaudiya line, how in that time because of Lord Chaitanya's teachings being perverted, people didn't respect the Gaudiya line of Vaishnavas, and they saw them as like beggars. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his time, he preached against that, and he wrote many books. He wrote 100 books, and he had to go through many difficulties and establish the line of Lord Chaitanya's teachings. And he faced difficulties even with the king of Jagannath Puri at some point, because this king of Jagannath Puri, he was taking the money of Lord Jagannath from the temple, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, being a judge, he had some power behind him, so he forced the king to pay back the money or something. And this king, he started doing a yagya to kill Bhaktivinoda Thakur. But instead of Bhaktivinoda Thakur dying, the son died. So then he realized who Bhaktivinoda Thakur was. So this purport explains about being careful dealing with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And there was another instance on this point on this preaching in Russia. This book was written, Salted Bread. And those two, I forget the name of the devotees, but they were put in prison. So one of the prisoners, he was giving devotees a very difficult time. So this devotee, he cursed that particular prisoner or prison guard. He cursed him that you'll die very soon. And he was going in his car with his family, and he drove off the cliff, and in this way he left his body. So the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas generally don't take offense. They try and see everything as Krishna's mercy. But devotees cannot tolerate if suffering is happening to others unnecessarily. And even Srila Prabhupada himself took action against certain instances like that when he was spreading Krishna consciousness. In Calcutta or something, Pandal program, and these people came in like young people, and they were causing disturbance, and they were going to attack the Matajis or something, and Prabhupada put the cartels towards them. He held the cartels towards them. And even in the times which are going through now, the Krishna consciousness movement is going forward. We can see how even devotees doing Harinam in central London. And this one person, he was doing his music or something, like a punk. And he used to give devotees bad language. So one of the devotees beat him up. And then he came to his senses. He saw these Hare Krishna and all light people. I have to be careful with them. And after that, I heard he became a devotee. There was another instance, I think, in the time of Jai Tirtha, in the early years of ISKCON, in Wembley, there were these Ritviks doing their Harinam, and the devotees came from the temple this side doing Harinam. And these football hooligans, so devotees did Harinam, and the devotees from the ISKCON, they left. And the these football hooligans, they beat up the Ritviks instead. So, shows how Krishna protects the devotees. This lecture, this is on Srila Prabhupada's lecture, Enchantment of the by Krishna's Glories, teaching Queen Kunti. So, okay. So Prabhupada goes through a little more detail on this subject, how Krishna protects the devotees and he gets rid of the unwanted elements in society. So, because protection of cows and brahmanas is very essential to benefit human society. And those who go against that, Krishna removes them in time. And Srila Prabhupada comments on this point a little bit here. A summary of Lord Krishna, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is made herein by Srimati Kunti Devi. The Almighty Lord has his eternal transit abode, where he is engaged in keeping Surabhi cows. He is sought by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. He descends on the material world to reclaim his devotees and to annihilate the disturbing elements in groups of political parties and kings who are supposed to be in charge of administration work. He creates, maintains and annihilates by his unlimited energies, and still is always full with prowess and does not deteriorate in potency. The cows, the brahmanas, the devotees of the Lord are all objects of his special attention, because they are very important factors for the general welfare of all living beings. Kunti Devi addresses Lord Krishna as Krishna Saka because she knows that although Arjuna, who is also known as Krishna, is her son and therefore subordinate to her, Lord Krishna is more intimately related with Arjuna than with her. Krishna is also name of Draupadi. Prabhupada further comments on this. Kunti Devi addresses Lord Krishna as the destroyer of the political parties of royal dynasties that disturb the earth. In every monarchy, the king is honored very graciously. Why? Since he is a human being and the other citizens are also human beings. Why is the king so honored? The answer is that the king is like the spiritual master. He is meant to be the representative of God. In the Vedic literature, it is said, Acharya mam vidi jnanam naiva tatam akarja chit. The spiritual master should not be regarded as an ordinary human being. Similarly, a king or a president is also not treated like an ordinary human being. In the Sanskrit language, the king is also called Naradev, which means God in human form. His duty is like that of Krishna. As God is the supreme living being in the universe and is the maintainer of other living beings, the king is the supreme citizen in the state and is responsible for the welfare of all others. Just as we are all living beings, Krishna, God, is also a living being. Krishna is not impersonal. Because we are all individual persons, but our knowledge and opulence is limited, the impersonalists cannot adjust to the idea that Supreme, the original unlimited cause of everything, can also be a person. But because we are limited, God is unlimited. The Mayavadis or impersonalists, with their poor fund of knowledge, think that God must be impersonal. Making a material comparison, they say that just like the sky, which we think of unlimited, is impersonal, so if God is unlimited, He must be impersonal. So this is the problem with the modern day system of education. They focus on the energy more than the person. And Prabhupada says in one of his lectures on the second canto, he says, this Mayavadi philosophy is based on sense gratification. Because they want to deny the person. So if you accept God as a person, then they have to be accountable for their actions. So if they don't see him as a person, then they feel they have more independence and they can do what they like. And the other defect in this Mayavadi philosophy is that they don't understand how karma is working. Karma is they just take out of the equation. They don't even consider the consequences of karma. And the other thing is the line of Vaishnava teachings which are giving to the line of Acharyas, they give the perfect understanding on how to connect to Krishna even in this material world. This is one of the things devotees have to work on, that Krishna is here. Although he's in the Goloka Vrindavan, he's still here through his name, through his deity form, through the Mahaprasad, to the Vaishnavas. Krishna is present. So, if we take advantage of these things and we become serious in our chanting and we see through the eyes of scriptures, then we are like entering a spiritual bubble. That the illusion cannot touch us. So Prabhupada comments on this in one of the lectures in Teaching of Queen Kunti. He says, just like in bird society there are different kinds of birds, there's a crow and the swan. So so generally people have they like crow-like mentality because they go for rubbish literature. They have no time for spiritual practices. Whereas devotees are like swans. They go for the good things. Srila Prabhupada emphasized in his lectures many times how we don't know how things are being given to the devotees. Many of our temples have over 100 devotees. Many are not working, but Krishna is supplying things. Prabhupada gave an example like in Los Angeles, the neighbors were envious. Devotees had 2 cars. And they were asking devotees, how are you getting all these facilities? The devotees would tell them, join us, but they would not join. So we can see how from these, how Krishna is looking after he's looking after everybody, but to the devotee he gives special attention. Because devotees benefit human society. It says for the non-devotees, whether they're single or married, they are just like dead bodies moving around. As for the devotees, whether they're single or married, they benefit the world. So so we can see how when we speak of Krishna, Krishna is never alone. Just like a king or a government, when they go anywhere, they go with the entourage. So when Krishna is coming, he's sending his intimate devotees after him. So if you associate with his intimate devotees through their teachings and follow the teachings of those who are following those teachings, then we will never be alone. We will always have that company of being in connection with Krishna. But how to enter these teachings is like, first thing is one has to overcome the emotional platform. And one has to come to a spiritual platform. So that means at least one has to be in the mode of goodness. This is when spiritual life starts. Prabhupada asked the question, you're explaining Krishna consciousness to be very joyful, chanting, dancing and feasting, but is there any challenges? And Prabhupada said the challenge is to come to mode of goodness. So mode of goodness is like a springboard. Then you can come to pure goodness. So, the challenge for devotees is if we are not very open to embracing Krishna and His instructions, then we are embracing the modes of nature. Because the living entity cannot be fully independent. He has to depend. Everyone has to have a leader. One cannot be independent fully in this world. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to Russia, he told this Kotarsky, he said, he told him, you're dependent on Lenin, we depend on Krishna. But you have to depend on someone, you cannot be independent. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in one of his lectures or quotations, he says, if you're 100% surrendered, then Krishna himself will come as a spiritual master to you. But if you're cultivating a mentality according to what you want, then you get someone guiding you according to the mentality you cultivate. Just like now, Prabhupada gives a quote about taking prasadam. He says in his memories that if an animal takes prasad, then he will take a human form immediately next life. Otherwise, generally the animal have to go through the evolutionary cycle. If they take prasad, they take human form next life. And a human being takes prasad, then he'll take birth in a high-class Brahman family, will take birth in a devotee family. So we can just see from this the benefits of taking prasadam. It's Prabhupada said in one of his lectures, he says, in the kingdom of God no one goes hungry. But the thing is, if someone is misused the food they are getting and they throw it away and things like that, like modern day times they mismanage things. They throw many things into the ocean, leftover foods, just to keep the prices high. And they growing tobacco and all these things. They're not growing grains and like that. So that's like, it's like messing with the laws of nature, going against God's laws. Like even now they don't follow God's laws, they make man-made laws. So that's like you're trying to make your own thing. So if that happens, then complications come in. This is where the karma comes in. Bad karma comes in. So there's three things. There's karma, akarma and vikarma. So karma is you get good karma that can help you to go forward in life. By having good karma, then by the mercy of a devotee, then by his glance you can become a devotee. Vikarma is a bad karma where it's hard for these kind of people to take to Krishna consciousness. It takes some time. And then akarma is where you're not getting any karma. So that comes when you take prasadam. Prasadam burns up all your bad karma. And there have been instances of people taking prasadam. Jai Shishi Radha Gokulanda ki jai, Gaurnitai Sitaram Lakshman ki jai. So there have been instances where people have taken prasadam, and after taking prasadam for some time, they can't eat meat and non-vegetarian things. They can't eat it. There was a story of one devotee. This is a girl. She was a small girl then, and she had a friend. So that devotee's friend, the father was a chef. So she took a mangalati sweet from here, the devotee, and gave it to the girl. So after eating the mangalati sweet, that girl couldn't eat any non-vegetarian things. She couldn't eat meat or anything like that. She would vomit. So then the parents made an investigation why this was happening. Then this devotee explained how to make the sweets here, make from cow's milk, how they grind it for 4 hours. After that, the whole family became vegetarian. So we can see the glories of prasadam. Also, Sitaram Prabhu had he was in, because he's doing this Ahimsa project, he had this farmer who was helping him. In the beginning he was doing cattle farm, but he had children who were preaching to him about vegetarianism. So then he changed his cattle farm into dairy farm. So this is just in coming in touch with Sitaram Prabhu and devotees. He changed his whole thing. So when the devotees bought a new farm in Leicester, the previous one was not so good, but they bought a new one. So they had to transfer the cows. So that other person who changed his farm into dairy farm, he told Sitaram Prabhu, I'll put the cows on my farm. So we can see like coming in touch with devotees, taking prasadam, people's consciousness change. And even to get into South Africa, when devotees going to South Africa or preaching in the beginning, it was very difficult. So what did devotees do? They took Simply Wonderfuls and they gave it to in the airport. They gave it to the officials. So like this, they allowed them to pass through. And this is how they go into South Africa to start the preaching of the. So we can see like this, the prasadam is very powerful. And the other thing is we generally take things for granted sometimes because of the temple facilities, donations are coming in. But I listened to a lecture by Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj. He gave an example. He was preaching India for some time, and he met these two boy and a girl. They were like 13, 9, young, very young. So they were living right next to the Hare Krishna temple in Delhi, not very far. So they used to go every day to the temple, hear the class, and take prasad like that. But the parents were against them going to the temple. They said, you can't go to the temple. So one time it happened, there was a marathon happening. So the boy and girl got enthused to help in the marathon. So they started giving Bhagavad Gita's out. So then so the boy came back late from the marathon and he had to go home. The temple was closed. So he took the Bhagavad Gita's home. So when the parents finally looked in the box, the Bhagavad Gita said, "You can't keep this in the house. Take it back to the temple." So the boy started telling the mother, "Can I go for cricket?" The mother said, "Why not?" Instead of going to cricket, he used to come to the temple. But Maharaj is giving an example, like some people find it difficult to come to the temple because the family is not supporting. They make it difficult for them. But we can see in this instance how Krishna gave intelligence to this boy also. Because he was eager to get the mercy, Krishna gave him intelligence. So they're saying God helps those who help themselves. And I think there's one Mataji, what's her name? Yasoda Devi, right? Yasoda Mataji left her body in Leicester recently. She's a long time devotee. Took names from Srila Shivaram Swami. And at some point, devotees were coming to her and asking her, "How are you doing?" She had cancer, right? They're asking her, "How are you doing? Everything okay?" And she used to tell them, "Look after yourself. I'm okay. I have nothing wrong with me. You look after yourself." Because everyone has to fly their own plane at the end of the day. So this is the actually in Srila Prabhupada's time, for people to practice Krishna consciousness, for devotees who are coming in, is more difficult. Because all the books were not translated. Even the tapes were coming out, devotees to be in groups to listen to one tape. So now we got everything for us, in front of us. Everything is there. All we have to do is just tap into the teachings and follow the teachings. So now it's much more easier than in Srila Prabhupada's time when Prabhupada was present. The devotees had to wait to contact Prabhupada, get the answer, then things will get clarified. And the books are not so easily available. But now everything is there. Books are out, Prabhupada's teachings are there, letters are there, everything is clear. So all we have to do is tap into that. Then everything becomes easy. Any comments or questions?
In the purport says, what says? That the Lord accepts only foodstuffs which are within the range of fruits, flowers, leaves, and liquids, provided that they are offered in complete devotional service. Devotional service is the only criteria for bona fide offering to the Lord. So this is kind of very, you can say, heavy statement. Like at home when you cook, you don't have a deities and your cooking is not part of the worship, then your innate urges to, to eat or feed your family. So when you offer with that, even if you pray to the Lord to accept, you may not, or you have some dietary requirements, for example, then you offer, and again, motive is to have some diet. So here it says complete devotional service. So in that case, is it better to stop cook, come to the temple, take temple Mahaprasadam, or for example the diets like I have diets, so often I cook for myself. Even I hope Lord will accept what I cook. He may not, so it's kind of very, what you think is procedure to that Lord accepts, maybe doesn't, probably doesn't.
Well, the thing is, if someone's advanced in Krishna consciousness, it says like Jagannatha's Babaji Maharaj, he was so advanced, he was doing so many, I think 192 rounds. He also certain they would just offer like this. They wouldn't just offer to the deity. They would just offer and just eat. This is for you, Krishna. Then they will do. Yeah, so you follow what Prabhupada has given. How he's teaching you, you follow that.
In the beginning, devotees were eating only Mahaprasadam from the temple. Most of the members were in the temple. Yeah. Mahaprasadam was there. So when Prabhupada was insisting they must eat Mahaprasad, everybody was eating Maha, so this was different. I don't know when this came about to kind of start to offer, just by the way. You know, in the beginning it was just Mahaprasadam. Entire temple foodstuffs was Mahaprasadam. There was no separate kitchen even, all Maha. So this kind of standard is a bit watered down. So in that sense I'm asking here.
Well, ideally, the
devotional service.
Ideally, the devotees who are cooking, they should be chanting 16 rounds. Then that's the ideal. That's the best standard.
Yeah, I guess we have to find some.
Is it?
Yeah, maybe also like a devotee is more merciful than Krishna. So when you offer to Prabhupada, he may offer to Krishna. I don't know. I just try to find. Anyone else comment on that?
Yeah, it's an individual thing. But if you follow standards, your purity, this is the main thing. Krishna sees that. Your service attitude. And if you're following that, everything will come. Like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he told one of his some Mataji who joined the temple from Africa. And she didn't know the prayers. She couldn't relate to the prayers because she's from a Christian background. So she was thinking, Krishna consciousness is not for me, it's too high. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj wrote to her telling her that you don't need to know the prayers. It's good to know the prayers, but you don't have to know them to recite them. Because Krishna sees your devotion. Krishna sees your devotion.
You have other motives and Krishna sees that. So when you offer...
Yeah, so if your intention is good, then it's okay. If you're following the standards properly, Krishna accepts.
In relation to Prabhu's point, I was just looking at the reference, Patram Pushpam, and what Prabhupada says in the purport. And Prabhupada is saying, it doesn't matter what one is, what one is, or where one is situated. The process is so easy that even a leaf, a little water, or a fruit can be offered to the Supreme Lord in genuine love, and the Lord will be pleased to accept it. No one, therefore, can be barred from Krishna consciousness because it is so easy and universe. Who is such a fool that he does not want to be Krishna consciousness by this simple method and thus attain the highest perfection of life, the eternality, bliss and knowledge? But in one sense, we all have it, but because of the conditional nature that we've been conditioned, then that covering is there. So then, technically, with the genuine love is there deep down, it just has to be pulled out. But by Guru Sadhu Sastra, it's possible.
Someone behind you.
About that, Prabhupada gives the example of the child who's trying to walk. And the father sees the child, struggling to walk, and sometimes he falls down. But because he's trying so hard to reach his father, he really sees the purity in the action, the endeavor. So he is pleased by that. So he accepts this as an offering, and not that oh, what a stupid child, he can't walk. So he sees the endeavor we put in, the devotion we try.
Any other comments, questions? Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai.